when I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, I feel like when they told me I had diabetes type 2, what's the first thing you're going to do is go look at type 2 diabetes and um, just try and understand it. And I felt like I had an understanding of it, but in actuality, it's a very complicated thing. And I feel like people throw diabetes like, oh, it's cool, it's just type 2 diabetes. But we're coming from a place to where, because everybody has it now, and I didn't realize how bad certain things were, like sugar specifically. And the more I look into it and research sugar, I realize how bad that is, and that's probably the main culprit of being diabetic. If type 2 diabetes, right? Because you can, in theory, prevent it or whatever by your food choices and what you put into your body. But as far as like fully understanding it, I don't think I will ever really fully understand diabetes. I feel like you learn something new every time you seek that knowledge. And I feel that it hasn't been, oh, I'm going to go down the diabetes rabbit hole today. It's like there's all these other little rabbit holes in this rabbit hole for diabetes. So if you don't know what you're looking for, it can be very overwhelming. And if you do know what you're looking for, it can be very overwhelming because it's such a complicated thing. And so I'm on insulin to manage it, and as well as my diet. And I feel that that's ever evolving. And and you take your stats, and you can do this 3 or 4 times a day. And if you don't eat the right things at the right times, it cannot be good. But if you eat the same foods at a different time, you're fine. So it's just, there's no really like diabetes for dummies, and I feel like there should be totally. So a year ago, on August the 27th, actually, I had a stroke, and doing therapy for that, like learning to walk again and everything, I developed one of the side effects of the stroke was drop foot. So my foot would naturally drop and stuff. The brain foot connection wasn't there. And I would do like physical therapy in the pool, right? I'd walk like a mile a day or whatever. So in that, I developed like a callus on my foot. And probably like I've done a million times before, I went to peel it off or scratch it off. And I guess being diabetic, that wasn't the thing to do this time, but I've done it probably a million times in my life. So I went back to the pool for my therapy session, and then the next day my foot was just not looking normal and things of that nature. And then I let another day go by, and my foot was gangrene on my big toe and the next toe. So I went to my primary care physician, and he directed me to go to the emergency room immediately, which I did. And I kind of already knew or had in my head that I might lose a couple of toes. I never thought that I would lose all five, but that's what happened. So I guess my health goals and my life goals are probably pretty intertwined, right? Because if you're not living or alive, you don't have any goals. So, one of my goals is to kind of educate myself on my situation so I can be my own advocate for myself, right? Because there's nothing more empowering than to be able to get things done and accomplished that you set your mind to.